Here we are with the Land Rover LR4 5.0 V8 in our timing chain repair. I'm in the process of pulling this top valve covers off to access the chains, and this is proving to be a little bit more taskful than I anticipated. There's a lot of stuff that comes off and needs some more specialty tools. The wiring harness itself has everything wraps around the front of the engines, not a big deal. Then it comes through this pre-molded plastic tray that lays along here on the valve cover, and it's clipped on right here to some tabs in 3 different locations along the back. And once you get those tabs to release and you slide it up out of the channel, it's pretty tight around the back, but once you get it up off that channel, then it will come up and kind of flex over, but there's not a lot of flexibility in there. And there is one sensor in the very back of the engine that you want to unplug that will pull tight if you don't. And this is your coil connections here. Each one release the little, pull back this little gray tab that is the safety lock, and then you squeeze it and it unlocks. And these ones here are on the injectors, and they're just a squeeze, but they're very stiff, and the way they're down in there, they're kind of hard to get to, and you just don't want to reach down in there and just push on the tab, because you possibly break the injector, because the end of the injector is just plastic, and it takes quite a bit of force to release this connector, so you have to be able to get your hand down there, which with the valve, the harness laying in there and everything connected, it's pretty tight. So I was using a pair of needle nose pliers and a screwdriver at the same time to try to squeeze them and release them and get them out of there. Then once you do that, then you have to remove the fuel rail, which is on top of there. You get the bolts out of the fuel rail, and that fuel rail, because it's a high pressure rail, has very tight fitting O-rings. It's very hard to get up off of there because everything around is plastic, so you can't pry hard on the valve cover or anything else. And I had a creative idea. I used one of my actually a suspension tool for adjusting tie rods, and I was able to, with the 1/2-inch ratchet on there, able to hook it underneath and twist like this, and worked it back and forth from each end, and was able to work the rail up off of there. It wasn't perfect, but it worked out all right with something similar to that design. So I got the rail off, and then my next issue is pulling these injectors, which are also very tight in the bore. And I tried making a puller, which worked out pretty good, I thought. I made this puller, it bolts down with a spacer where the rail bolts down. It's actually to the top of the head, so it's not on any plastic. And cut this bar, and it fits about right. And then I made this that I thought would work, that fit down around the injector piece where I pull, and then it hooks on my lever and just pulls, but my metal wasn't strong enough to hold. So there's special tools you can order out there, but right now I'm looking at almost 2 weeks to get one. So I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and try to make another one of these out of some heavier steel that will hopefully hold up. And so that's where I'm at before I can get this valve cover off. And these couple bolts on the back of the valve cover, I have the valve cover loose. There are 2 bolts in the very back there. It's really close to the body that take you some time to get out, because you can't hardly get a ratchet in there. You had to do the one with a boxed in wrench, one turn at a time. But that's where we're at. So when I get me a tool made or bought or something, we'll be back and keep going with this thing.